I know that one. Welcome back. This is questions and answers on the topic of ego versus higher self.
You got any questions? Are you going to wait till I turn the camera off again and then ask all the questions that are good?
So funny. How do you know? So thinking about everything we just talked about, can you see the difference in yourself when you might be coming from ego versus higher self? How would you recognize that in your own life? And we shared how we recognize it for ourselves. But how would you know if it's ego or higher self? What do you think?
I liked how you said ego is trying to control things, and that really resonated with me.
You have children, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Oh, she has a spouse. So we know how that goes.
We know how. So you have an adult child called a husband. I know, I am one. I own that.
Right. But that is that, and
yeah.
It resonates for me too, because I tend that for all of us, I think there's a trigger that is bigger than others, and for me, it is control as well. So we were having this conversation today, but when I notice myself feeling the need to be in control, I really have to step back behind that low wall and take a deep breath, because
I'm gonna have to crawl under the bed. Just stay.
Because that is my tendency to go to as well. Yeah.
So how about the health of your body when you're trying to control and do things and force things because it's to heal your body?
Can you force your body to heal?
No, but I'm an action, like, I feel that what all the things I'm doing to heal my body is kind of forcing it. Even like eat, I have to eat. So then I make myself eat. Otherwise I wouldn't eat.
Here's how I would see the difference, right? Because we do have to take care of the body, we do have to eat. But if you are forcing yourself to exercise, or you are forcing yourself to eat something you really don't like because it's good for you, can someone say kale and tofu? Then that's your ego trying to drive your healing. If you simply step back and say, you know, my body will do, if I trust my body, it will do and tell me what I need to do, right?
Even for exercise, because I cannot make myself exercise to save my life.
I don't exercise.
I don't either. That may not be what your body needs. Maybe it just needs to walk around the block.
Okay, yeah. Movement.
Is very
Shift
different.
the word from exercise to movement.
Right.
Our bodies require movement, right? But this idea, in the gym, is a very modern American idea. You know, our grandparents did not go to a gym.
They moved more.
They moved.
They walked more.
They worked. They lifted. They
They
gardened.
weren't on their phones like this.
No, they didn't live like
on
this.
their phones either. Wow, who would have thought? But you know, I know that you're from another country, so and again, I'm going to be vague. But if you think back to your home country, I bet you didn't have a gym on every single corner.
No, there was no.
They didn't have gyms you went and got memberships to go work out and sweat, and you know,
Yeah, it was not popular. No.
because people did more movement. They walked places. They got more movement in. They did more manual labor, but they may also just walk to the grocery store instead of drove. More activity.
So what makes the ego, how do you know the action I'm taking is from the ego towards my body, or it's really from my higher self?
Does it feel like force?
Yeah, all of it.
Then it's not your higher self.
So your higher self wants you to be healthy, right? It wants you to do things that are good for your body, and it wants you to be healthy. So I recommend that you sit and have a conversation with your body and ask your body what it wants, rather than asking all the professionals.
Right.
You know, if you have a serious illness, obviously that's a totally different story. I'm not telling you not to go to a doctor. No. If you find out that you have a really serious issue, you need to have it dealt with. I know I've said before, you know, if I broke my leg, I'm not gonna run to my healer, I'm gonna go to my doctor, have it set, put a cast on it, then I might go to my healer to help it go faster, right? So there's a balance between those things. So rather than listening to everybody else out here, take some time to talk to your body and to get connected with your higher self and your body and find out what's in your highest and best interest.
And don't judge what it says, right? Don't judge what your higher self says to you, because that's not what modern science or
The healers
everybody
or-
else
yeah.
has said to you.
Right.
Your body knows more about itself than anyone out here, and that includes us, all right?
And your body may like, some people really like exercise. I
Right.
mean, they want to go to the gym. It's actually, it brings up the endorphins
good
and
for
it's
them.
good for them. And I say go for that. You just should on yourself to make yourself do something that
Other people think it's
other
good.
people think is right for you.
If it brings you joy, it's good for you. If it doesn't, it isn't, all right? Over the last year and a half, I've lost about 35 pounds. I did not go on a diet. I did not exercise more. I started listening to my body and listening to what it wanted to eat. Now, this ticks her off immensely, because part of what it wanted to eat on a regular basis was a big bowl of Bluebell
Ice cream.
ice cream, all right? So I still do, I will have 2, maybe 3 big bowls of ice cream with chocolate
In a
syrup.
week,
In
not
a
a
week.
day.
In a week.
That's
in
not
a
like
week.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
But doing that, I got back into a state of, all right? Prior to that, it was like, okay, or once I need to be vegetarian. All right, I need to do this. I can't eat fried. Okay, I love chicken fried steak, folks. And I've noticed, we go to Oklahoma a lot. We got a place up there, and one of the restaurants we eat has a really good chicken fried steak. Right? I eat the steak. I come home. I've lost a pound. Right? My body was happy because it had something that brought it joy. Now, am I going to eat chicken fried steak every day, morning, noon, and night? I am not stupid. But I do know that if my body is telling me I want this, I need this, it will bring, and I'm not saying the word pleasure, I am saying joy. There is a difference between those 2 words. I will leave it up to you to figure those out. But that which brings you joy is always positive. It is always coming from your higher self. That which does not means you're trying to force something, and that your ego has gotten involved and is generating that energy for you.
And again, everybody's different.
Right.
You know, we have specific things that we might think that research has shown is good for brain health, or it's vision, or we know there are certain things that are good for
Right.
certain things. So we pay attention to that, and we, like I said, much like if I broke my leg, I'd go to the doctor first. We marry those 2
I
together.
want his body.
Yes, me too.
Bluebell ice cream body.
Yeah, ice cream body, right. So, but I had an aunt who passed of cancer, and she had cancer, and then she did all the medical stuff and got rid of it. And she read all the natural health books at the time, which was a number of years ago. And it said, if you eat 7 almonds a day and 2 ounces of dark chocolate, I mean, a whole list of things to fight cancer, right? So every day she did and don't eat this and don't eat that and don't do this and don't do that. And every day she did exactly what the books told her to and her natural health providers told her, and she got cancer again. Believe that crap happens, right? And she did pass of that cancer. And before she passed, she was talking to my mother, her sister, and she said, enjoy life. All of us are gonna die. We're all gonna that's how we get out of the game. There's no way around it. I don't know anybody who's figured out immortality or would want it. So everybody's gonna die, and we don't know when that is. And her statement was, I worried so much about doing the right thing that I didn't enjoy my life.
Right.
I literally got so caught up in the woulda, shoulda, couldas.
What was that word in there? Should?
Didn't enjoy my life. And so we don't know when that time's gonna come. We don't know how we're gonna pass. Some of us may, if that's your thing. But if you enjoy where you are, your body is happier, you're happier, life flows, you're coming from that higher self, and things just work.
Right.
Well, I enjoy having a cocktail, but if I do, my heart races that night.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's a decision you have to make. So again,
To go out with the heart and enjoy my friends was.
You might ask your body why it races, and if it's a particular liquor that causes it in the
Okay.
cocktail.
Or a
And
sugar
I
or-
never drink over two, but
Yeah.
when I do it, I lay down and it just goes crazy.
Okay.
So check with your body
Yeah.
and find out maybe your body is okay if you have one.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe your body's okay if you change and have a different liquor.
Right. Most people don't realize that different liquors have different effects.
Right.
Right. I learned that very early in life. All right.
I don't do tequila.
And you give me a shot of tequila, and it's like you just gave me a methamphetamine. I'm up and happy. All right.
I have a hangover, one margarita, I got a hangover the next day. It's like not worth it.
But
And that's that choice and listening, and my body's not happy when I have a margarita, even though I might like the flavor. So I'll choose something different.
and if I drank scotch, I wanted to fight. It just triggered anger in me instantly. I learned very quickly, don't drink scotch. All right.
So those are those decisions that you have
Yeah.
to make, so,
But ask your body.
right.
It will give you more information than you know what to do with most
And
times.
that's being still and going within
Mhm.
and asking,
And connecting to that higher self of yours.
okay.
You know, again, our higher self is better at driving this vehicle than the ego is. The ego is the key to get in the vehicle. The higher self is who we want behind the wheel.
I'm actually gonna, she likes that metaphor of a car, but when it comes to your body, I want you to think of your body more in terms of if it was a pet. How would you treat a pet? Because this is an animal body. Right? It's not who you are. It's just an animal that you happen to be riding around in at the moment to communicate on this planet.
And if you knew feeding your cat scotch would make it go crazy, you would never
I
feed
would
your
never
cat
feed that
scotch. Right?
No.
Probably would kill a cat, but I'm not gonna try.
It might kill a car.
Huh?
It might kill a
I
car.
don't know, it might run on it, you never know. Ethanol, you know.
But yes, exactly, the same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
And by the way, when we're on the body topic, I will eventually get around to teaching a class called Making Peace with Your Body.
Okay, I'll be
Okay.
there.
Soon.
Make that one soon.
Yes.
All right, any other questions on how do you know if it's your, we'll call it lower self, your ego that's in the game, or if you're actually tapping into your higher self? Anything else? Control, needing to control yourself, needing to control somebody else or a situation.
What
So
do you
the
think would
higher
be?
self is really softer, right?
Yes.
And there are no shoulds, really.
Mm-mm.
So even if whoever think that messed up is really the ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always the ego running the show, pretty much.
Yes. That's, well.
And then what we're
it-
talking
it-
about is how are you shifting that?
Yes, we have as a society been taught to live from ego, right? Me, you, us, them. That's all ego, right? And it was necessary in the beginning, but we've gotten a little carried away with it. The ego has, in many ways, usurped the role that our higher self was meant to play in our life. Not good, not bad, just it is. Right? And this is about, yes, it's softer. Go back to being gentle.
And the emotion, right? So if you feel bad about something, is your ego. If it feels neutral kind of thing, it's more your higher self guiding you. Could that be it?
Like what's an example?
Yeah.
Can you think of an example?
Because my answer is going to be yes and no.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Can you think of an example?
Well, for example, for me, I know that I must exercise in order to build a little bit of muscle, because I feel that I'm losing muscle mass and I'm getting weaker and weaker and weaker. But at the same time, there's a lot of lethargy within me. So I have these two voices, right? The one that's like, I really don't feel like it, just sit in the couch and relax because I'm tired. And the other one that says, no, you need to exercise. And then I feel bad because I'm not doing the exercise and I'm sitting in the couch. But when it feels spontaneous, which is a rarity, that for example, this is nice and I'm gonna go for a walk. I didn't think about it, and it was spontaneous, it was not forced.
Right.
Then this is what I think it's my higher self leading to that movement. Versus when I'm at home.
And you're guilting yourself.
Correct.
Right.
Guilting yourself or others is always ego.
That's why I say the softer part, because it feels like I did not choose it, like, you know, from the ego state. It was more an impulse that, you know, felt more natural, more
Right.
softer.
And that's about listening to the body. That's your higher self coming through the body saying, okay, let's go for a walk. It's a beautiful day.
Correct.
And then your ego is, oh, but this couch is so comfortable. Right? And then your ego will also turn around and say, you should have gotten off the couch.
Exactly.
So please hear, both of those
Both
roles
sides,
are your
correct.
ego.
Correct.
All right?
Correct.
If it makes you feel bad, it's your ego.
Exactly. That's why I was asking if it makes you feel bad.
Feel
regardless
bad,
of what-
guilty, blame, shame, all of that, you know, you're wrong, you're less than, all of that is ego.
Easy, yeah.
And
So when is the no? When is the
the
exception?
no, okay.
Yeah.
This is where I was about to go, is there are times you may have said something or done something that someone else was hurt by. Alright, and your ego will still, you shouldn't have done that, you're a bad person. Your higher self will go, alright, that really was inappropriate, what can we do to make it right? Okay, it won't guilt you, it won't shame you. Neither of those are functional of helping you grow. It will, however, prompt you to make it right or do it differently, right?
Well, and that's even what she was talking about with getting off the couch.
Yeah.
You did take action. You got off the couch and went for a walk. So your higher self can be saying, hey, let's go for a walk, it's a nice time outside. And your ego goes, it's really comfy here, I don't wanna go anywhere. So it can still be that kind of dichotomy. In the case that you explained, you got off the couch and went for a walk, so you still had to listen to the ego. So just because you hear it, doesn't mean we always pay attention to it, right? So, in your case, your ego may know that it's not good for you to have 2 drinks, that one is all you need, because 2 drinks, it affects your body. So you hear the little voice that says, no,
That's your higher self,
I'm sorry, your higher self, the little voice, your higher self that says, 1 drink is all you need, just enjoy it with your friends, don't have another one. It will be there to protect you and make you a better person all the way around. It wants you to be healthier, it wants you to be happier, it wants you to have more joy, your higher self, all those kind of things. It wants you to have those love emotions on that piece of paper. It wants you to feel that way, and that would be if you've wronged somebody else or said something that someone took the wrong way, that you go back and you make it right. Those are all things that your higher self wants you to do. We don't always listen to it though. Often we say, I want that second drink, I don't give a darn, right? Or, I don't really like that person, I'm not gonna go make amends. Or, I just wanna sit here on the couch, I don't wanna listen to that little voice and go take a walk. So that's what we're suggesting is, learn to listen to that softer, gentler, more loving, compassionate voice, both for yourself and for other people. That's listening more to your higher self.
And sometimes we hear the higher self's message and we misinterpret it, okay? I'm thinking of a situation where someone made the statement, lesson learned, I'll remember that next time. Problem was, they learned the wrong lesson. So with the alcohol, it may be that your higher self, when you go in and you feel that heart palpitations, is saying, maybe this isn't about the alcohol. Maybe we're using this to tell you you need to go get something checked. Okay? Because there's something that alcohol is triggering inside of your body that is there even when you aren't drinking. And it's just exacerbating it and bringing it to your attention. Okay?
So really it's just about being more gentler, being gentler with yourself and
Yes.
with others and with situations.
I am curious about politics. There's a lot of big egos in politics.
There is nothing but egos in politics.
Ego is, right, politics is ego, period. Big, little, small, whatever, yeah.
So I'm wondering what a politician that wanted to listen to his higher self, like, could he survive in politics? Should we do away with politics? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there because I'm curious.
I think, and this is only an opinion, that yes, a politician who began to listen to their higher self could survive. Whether they could be effective at this point in time or not is a different story, right? Marianne Williamson is going to run for president again, okay? She definitely understands love versus fear. She comes from a very different place and perspective. She's not going to get elected because she's not running in one of the parties, and you know that's again opinion. One of the biggest problems we have.
Her ego's not big enough.
Oh no, her ego's big
Oh,
enough.
she's got a good.
We met her. Her
We met her
ego's
in
big
person.
enough.
She's a sweetheart, but
Yeah.
she's strong. She's a strong woman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, can I share something?
Sure.
So, remember, we're talking about levels of the game, right? And so, it's about being in the game. We know that the game has levels. We know that the entire game is duality.
Mhm.
There's nothing out, the whole game is duality. So play a video game or shoots and ladders or whatever. Politics is duality. And what politics does for us, especially in this country when we only have two major parties, will show us, and I don't say one party is higher self and one party is ego. It's not that way at all, right? But they every day, the news, the media of all kinds, both parties, politicians, TV stars, all of those people are putting ego on display. Duality. They thrive in the us versus them. We're right, they're wrong. Follow us, don't follow them. Over here, not over there. Left versus right. That duality is the game.
We're battling for the soul of America.
Right.
Both sides.
Both sides in their own way say that, right? You know? So the truth is, that is duality on display. That
Yes.
gives us a very, very visual picture of the game playing out.
Mhm.
So for me, I see politics as a very positive thing in that it actually puts in everyone's face duality. Matter of fact, we could have been talking about duality 20, 30 years ago and people wouldn't quite they don't get it. Now you see it on TV every night,
Right.
right? You see the us versus them. You see and so they are helping our cause
Right.
by putting on display duality, right?
You just have to be able to step back from being in the
Right.
forest.
It's like, going up.
Yeah.
That's fine
yeah,
too.
Going up is fine.
Away from the chaos,
Yeah.
away from the chaos.
Step back.
Stepping
Put
back,
put a
stepping
buffer
up.
zone between you
Right.
and the events, the words.
So, you can see it play out, you can watch it like a movie and not get hooked into it
I
as
don't
much.
watch horror movies.
Huh?
I don't watch horror movies.
Horror movies, I know. I don't like horror flicks either, but you get the point, right? Or dramas, serious dramas. It's all drama. Right, but that is, for me, I see politics as playing its role
Mhm.
in the duality.
Right.
I don't think it will go away inside the game. I don't think it's possible. I don't care what country you're in,
Mm-mm.
but I don't think it's possible for politics to go away inside the game.
Because remember, we're all human, we all have an ego, and that ego is going to do what egos do. They're going to make us see separation.
Right.
As we rise in vibration, what we do is we still see the separation. I still see different bodies sitting out here, but now I have learned to say, okay, that's not her. I have to look past the body, I have to look past the behavior, then I can see who I'm actually dealing with, right? I see source manifesting through a body with an ego creating a wee bit of dissonance in the vision on both sides.
And so, does that make sense as far as
Yeah.
the position of politics and, like I said, I don't think it's going away.
Mm-mm.
I don't think it's possible as long as there's egos.
I really like your outlook. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. At the highest and best, politics is about management. At its highest and best, it's about managing energies of what we're all doing. Okay, not controlling us, not telling us what we should or shouldn't do, just managing things for the collective. That's it. That's what government is meant to be. Not a control, but a management system.
But we've talked about spiral dynamics.
We have.
And spiral dynamics is a whole premise that was originally made by a social psychologist. There is a book called Spiral Dynamics. And it talks about the role of government as you move up the game.
Right.
As you move up the levels of the game, the role of the government changes. And depending on where you are in the game, whether you're going up, sometimes we go back down, right, the levels. But wherever you are in the game, that role of government does shift. And it plays a different role, and it has a different responsibility inside the game. Ken Wilber talks about spiral dynamics. He just gets
Really heady.
really heady and loses most people. So I try to make it really simple.
But that is on the collective level, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. No matter what, it's the collective of a country, because we're talking specifically politics, so it's a collective of a country,
Right.
and where the country is on the level, not the individual.
Not the individual.
Right.
Right.
But remember, the collective is made up of individuals.
Right.
And this is how change occurs. Actually, Ken Wilber makes the statement that evolution occurs one funeral at a time. And it's a little harsh, but real, right? And as society evolves, as it's moving up those levels, all right, that's when the governments begin to change. We're having,
And play different roles.
Play
They still
different roles.
exist. Politics is still there,
Right.
but they play a different role. Yeah, definitely.
all right,
All right.
anything else?
Anything else about higher self and ego and how all that functions?
So the ego can become, so the ego can grow as the higher self is growing, right? Can evolve or because it's
So,
Well,
Yes
it's
and
running this, right?
Again, yes and no.
right.
You can bring your ego under control in terms of helping it find a different job,
Right.
right? But it's always going to be that, what it is.
Yeah.
It's the user interface that allows us to see separation
Yeah.
and play in duality. If you could not see separation at all, you wouldn't be in the game.
but not let that user interface run the life.
Correct.
But allow the higher self to use the user interface.
Correct, right.
So the goal, and what we're really trying to explain, hopefully we've done a decent job of it, is I still have an ego. Tricia still has an ego. I'm in a physical body. I'm in the game. I'm still playing. I still have a part of me that's the little part that has some of those fear emotions from time to time, depression, anxiety, need to be in control, whatever it is. That part still exists. The goal in our spiritual growth is that your connection to your higher self is instead of a teeny tiny little hose, the connection becomes a huge hose for source and spirit to work through you. And so, again, ego then finds the role it's supposed to play as the key to the game, not the whole car, not the whole game, not the path where you're headed, not who's involved with you in the game. Ego becomes the key to just turn it on, and then steps back. And more of your decisions, more of your life choices, more of where you come from is from your higher self, a bigger tube, so that you're seeing the game, you're seeing everything from a different perspective of higher self. You're stepping back, you're stepping away, you're watching it. The observer self becomes a lot stronger, where you're observing a situation, especially if it's one that is a lot of egos playing out, right? You become more of the observer of the situation, less getting hooked into it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's not that ego ever goes away, it just takes a back seat.
Right.
It's
It
no
just plays the
longer
role it was
the
designed to
driver.
play, not the one it's.
It's the key, not the driver,
morphed
in my
into.
analogy. Right, yeah. It goes back to being,
The user interface.
yeah, well, and it's good, the other thing ego is good for is survival. Ego wants me to survive, so ego is good for it will protect me, it will keep me out of danger, you know, so we ought to honor ego for what it can do for us. Yet we want to say, you're not running the show. We want our higher self to be the one running the show here, this show, and my role. Because again, as I was saying, when that happens, you're in the flow of source, and things just work smoother in your life. If you feel like you're going upstream, you're probably being run by ego. If you feel like things are just falling into place, and you're meeting the right people, going the right places, having the right things happen, you're probably being led by higher self, your own higher self.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Anything else? He's taking notes.
She won't make you talk yet,
He's
Shabaka.
taking notes.
No, that was like spot on.
Alright, cool.
Good,
I
thank
don't think I could
you.
add too much more. I agree with the politics thing that, you know, it's not the people, it's just how it's set up. So that
Right.
system is doing what it's supposed to do now, but it's not really helping the people, it's just the interested ego parties, right?
That's it.
But I could see, like, you're talking about a spiral, that as it evolves, its service will spread to touch and help more people, as it was designed to be, right?
Exactly.
And ego, I would say, yeah, it's, you know, it's a tool, right?
Mhm.
Just like a user interface, so it's,
Right.
it works if you have the right relationship with it.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing is, we hear people a lot of times that say, oh, you gotta get rid of your ego, you gotta get, and that's the ego saying that, cause it wants you to get in a fight with it, right? Your own ego's who's saying you should get rid of the ego. It will pretend it's
And
not
let me
the
show you how to
ego.
do it.
I want the ego, but you should get rid of the ego, let's go to war, right? That's fun, let's do that, right? So it is interesting, cause a lot of people are like, oh, you need to get rid of your ego. I'm like, no,
No,
you
you
can't
don't.
get rid of your ego.
Tame it.
Let's just give it the role it's supposed to play. Let's put it where it's supposed to be, and let's allow it to have that role, rather than all the chaos and stuff. Let's have that nice balance. Yeah.
And while we're still here, you might wanna tell them how we're going to change this meeting starting in May.
Oh, you wanna do that on the video?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So we have 2 more
Yes.
topics
Yes.
in April. We have 2 more topics. One is called Living in Divine Flow, which is actually where we're going to take what we just talked about tonight, and now how do we do that even more, right? How do we move even more so that our life works well? Isn't that what we all want? We want everything to go much easier, smoother, not feel like we're battling uphill. So
Or beating your head on the wall.
Living in Divine Flow is next week. And then the 26th of April is to choose or not to choose. Do we really have free will?
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Does free will really exist? What is free will, and where does it work and when does it not? And then in May, starting in May, which is what you were asking, we're gonna shift it. So last week, was that last week we did the?
Healing, yes.
Yeah, so last week we did some healing things and helped some people physically feel better. who were having aches and pains and problems. And it's very, very rapid. So what we do is minutes. So something that was a 20-year neck problem went away in about 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Something, your back better?
Mhm.
Something that was a back issue that you had to carry a cushion to sit on because it was hurting, went away in like 30 seconds to a couple minutes.
That's true.
Right?
No more, huh?
So we do what's called Anu-Cree healing, and it's a
Again?
combination.
Anu Cree.
Anu-Cree. Anu means God,
Okay.
A-N-U, and Cree means energy, K-R-I. And it's a combination of things we've learned, so I will give credit to those that we've learned from and all the people that we've studied with, and things that we ourselves have channeled in. And we are going to start every Wednesday night doing a Anu-Cree healing service. So we'll be inviting people to come that have aches and pains or the quickest things are like aches and pains. The other
Fears
thing
and
that,
phobias.
other things really quick is fears and phobias. So that's very fast as well. Other things that might be longer, but we're gonna make it a little bit more, interactive and a little bit more of a service of sort. So we'll do some meditation, we'll have a little music.
The cameras won't be here.
Yeah, we'll do the healing work. We'll also be inviting the community, both here and online, to give us healing requests, and we're gonna share how we can all help the healing requests. And so we'll do that as a group as well. So it's gonna shift a little bit. We'll still do a little talk, kinda like this, it'll just be much shorter, and then we'll move to the healing aspects. Does that make sense? Questions about that?
Oh, sounds
We
good.
Sounds good? Awesome, something different.
And
We've
you
been
know,
doing the advanced metaphysics for a while, so we're ready to do something a little different too.
2 months we've been doing this series.
Oh, more than that, January.
Oh, really? I thought, okay, 3 months, no, wait, where are we?
This is
4
4.
months.
4
Oh,
months.
Lord.
We get bored
This is
too,
on
so we wanna do
YouTube.
something
What's the
different.
channel?
Intelekia Center.
Okay.
We get bored too, so
Yeah.
if you go to our website, intelekia.org, you can also, at the very bottom, there's links for our social, and that includes
Yeah.
our YouTube channel,
Okay.
as well as our Facebook channel. All right, thank